How did you feel about Ronnie's look in 2003? Was it when you saw him, you like holy shit, or
Backstage, I was confident for when I went in that show. I said I'm going to win the Mr. Olympia.
yeah,
I had already won everything that year. Won the Arnold,
Arnold's,
I won all the Grand Prix. I won the Ironman that year. I was the biggest thing in bodybuilding at that point, like coming up strong, and I was getting better. And Coleman shows up and takes his clothes off backstage, and I just said, "Oh shit."
You were looking down, and Jay was to your left, and you didn't seem that confident when they announced it.
Yeah, because I already knew I was going to be second far away.
How did you know that?
Oh, my girlfriend told me.
What?
She was judging.
Oh, she was judging, and she knew that. Oh, she already told you that was going to happen. You talking about Vicky or who?
Yeah, I'm talking Vicky.
Okay. Yeah.
She had told me I was going to get second.
How did she know? Because
with every superhero, there's always a rival trying to keep up and outperform the loved hero just to get the #1 placing and their validation from the ladies.
Is you gonna suck my dick? You know what I'm saying? I'm trying to go crazy.
Out of all the rivals which took place in Planet Earth, the Ronnie Coleman versus Jay Cutler rivalry has to be one of the best rival stories in the planet. I mean, when you take a look at both these competitor stories, these meatheads experienced real life DC comic origin stories. Like Jay Cutler, who literally watched his mom and dad get shot outside the movie theater and suddenly had a thought in mind to call himself Jay the Batman. And if you think that's terrible, Ronnie Coleman literally had his home planet, which was called Planet T-Ball, explode after. Just to sum it up, this video I will be telling the story of how Jay Cutler began his bodybuilding journey from working at a family construction business to somehow finding himself beating the best bodybuilder in the planet, Ronnie Coleman. So make sure you like the video, comment your thoughts throughout the video, subscribe to my channel. Jason Isaac Cutler was born in August 3rd, 1973 in Worcester, Massachusetts, and grew up attending school in the Massachusetts Regional High School in Holden, spent most of his time at the farm, and worked for his family construction business at the age of 11, which was a toll to Jay Cutler's mental health as he would work extremely long hours without a decent break, as Jay Cutler would miss out on enjoying life as a kid, like playing football in school or going on vacation.
Looking back now, it was the combination of doing concrete 11 to 18, where I was just working non-stop. After school vacations, it really tore my body down.
The construction work contributed to a somewhat wrongful child labor, but through the pain of lifting heavy concrete, it led to a decent build in Jay Cutler's physique. Jay, during his younger years, loved watching superhero shows, movies like Batman, Superman, Jean-Claude Van Damme, and Rambo, casted by Sylvester Stallone. But his love wasn't necessarily in the shows, but the physiques he saw within the shows. One day, Jay Cutler came across a bodybuilding book he found from his sister's boyfriend at the time, which represented the 1982 Mr. Olympia. Jay, saying the outstanding physiques far advanced than the TV shows or movies he had watched, gave Jay Cutler a fresh breath of inspiration to try out bodybuilding someday. At age 15, Jay Cutler's friend invited Jay to come train with him at Gold's Gym, which would solely be a foundation for Jay Cutler's bodybuilding origins.
I basically had a lot of people tell me I had a great physique from all the construction work. I mean, at the time my diet was basically pizza, burgers, and whatever. You know, I was a kid, you know, that's what I ate. So I was ripped, but I had developed a great physique. I had good shoulders, very skinny legs, but I worked construction and everyone would say, wow, you lift weights, and it's like, no, I just work construction. And I don't know, something about it just, I remember picking up books here and there in stores and being fascinated by it. And you know, Arnold, I guess, was an inspiration to me, like the Terminator movies. And I really just really liked the look of the bodybuilder, and I had no idea what it was all about, but I knew that it was kind of almost like my destiny to be here, and it was always in my heart, and I think that's why I've done so well at it, and people are amazed at how disciplined I am.
Jay had no clue about bodybuilding on how to actually correctly train, and would go around asking advice from gym goers at that time, but no one seemed to want to help Jay Cutler. Nobody would care to answer, being how niche bodybuilding was at the time, and back then Jay did not have as much access to information in the internet like today. Like literally, people back then had to take steroids to know if that shit was literally harming to their bodies as experimentation. Jay Cutler, after graduating, was preparing to quit the construction business and pursue a degree in criminal justice, while also pursuing bodybuilding. At age 18, Jay Cutler's physique gained size rapidly after making changes to his diet, which showed the potential that Jay Cutler had in the bodybuilding genre.
When I actually started going to college and I would be in class and I'd have more time to rest, and then I started eating the food because I didn't have any kind of nutrition program at all when I was in high school, it really it just, my body exploded. And that's really how I would say that I made such fast progression, because my body was just beat down, tired, not no nutrition value whatsoever.
The rapid growth of Jay Cutler's physique got him attention around the gym, letting Jay Cutler a chance to compete in the 1992 Gold's Gym Warcaster Bodybuilding Championship, in which Jay Cutler placed second, a very impressive placing being his first time. This win would get Jay Cutler loads of recognition outside of his town, which led to Jay being introduced to Chris Aceto, who created Jay Cutler a diet to follow during his prep, and 6 months later Chris would be mind blown with the condition Jay Cutler was able to obtain during that time. Jay Cutler was confident and ready to begin his journey to win the Mr. Olympia. In 1996 MPC Nationals, he placed first in the heavyweight division, earning Jay Cutler his IFBB Pro card.
And then did you go into work right after college, or did you go full into bodybuilding?
The funny thing is I graduated college in 93, and I went to the teen nationals around the time I was graduating. I actually skipped my graduation to go compete in the nationals. Yes,
wow,
that's the best teenager in the country, and I won that in the heavyweights. And from that forward, I was like, okay, I have something. I was looking at magazines and looking at California. I wasn't making a ton of money, and so when I graduated, I was able to, just work and just support my career a little bit. I didn't take a job right away, and I was trying to decide, because I graduated my associate's degree, and did I want to go and finish my bachelor's? And I was kind of working. I was doing heating, air conditioning at the time, and shortly after, I got my first sponsorship offer, like $50,000 contract. And at the time, it doesn't sound like a lot, but this is 95. I landed my first Muscle and Fitness cover, and
this was an amazing milestone for Jay Cutler, but his confidence of winning the Mr. Olympia was quite low, being that Dorian Yates was still dominating the Olympia battlefield within this time frame. Jay Cutler devoted his years of building his physique, competing in various shows to someday prepare himself for the day Dorian Yates is out of the throne. Jay Cutler went to compete at the 1998 IFBB Night of Champions, in which he placed 11th, competed in the Arnold Classic 1999, in which he placed 11th, and competed in the 1999 IFBB Ironman Pro Invitational, in which Jay placed 3rd. This placing brought confidence within Jay Cutler's shell, as he just recently showed up at a good condition. And with Dorian Yates not being in the way of the 1999 Mr. Olympia, this absence gave less stress upon Jay Cutler and other bodybuilders competing at the Mr. Olympia. Despite Flex Wheeler being the second quote-unquote threat to the competing bodybuilders, one individual came in being the new threat to the competitors. This was Ronnie Coleman. Ronnie Coleman showed up bigger than last time after being given a specific steroid cycle by Flex Wheeler, as Ronnie wanted to know how in the world does Flex Wheeler always show up bigger at every show. But this would be a mistake, as the threat would give Ronnie the secret formula, which would make Ronnie a bigger threat, and Ronnie takes the title. And this was discouraging for Jay, as he placed 14th and thought maybe that year the competition would get easier. But the rule in life is that life doesn't get easier, you just get stronger.
Well, Flex called me on the phone one day. He's like, man, who you working with? I'm like, dude, I'm doing my own thing. He's like, oh man, I got this guy, Chad Nichols. He could, you know, he can dial you in and make a difference in your physique. So I called Chad. Chad didn't call me back. So I called Flex again. Flex, this guy's not calling me back, man. You told me to call this guy and he was gonna help me out, and he ain't calling me back. He's like, no, just keep calling. He'll call you back. So I called him again. Well, this time he called me back, you know, and I hooked up with him. He changed everything I was doing. He changed my diet, you know. I went from eating 5 meals a day to eating 6 meals a day.
Okay.
I went from 10 ounces to 12 ounces of protein with each meal to 16 ounces.
You eating a pound of protein a meal?
I'm eating a pound of protein a meal. And I'm trying everything in my power to stuff this food, and it ain't working. So I'm like, man, he said I gotta eat this food to get big. So I just kept eating and eating. My body finally adjusted to it. I was finally able to, it took about 3-4 months.
Wow.
For my body to adjust 100 grams of protein with each meal.
Third place was calling it wasn't me, and I'm like, oh boy, I know for a fact I got second. Cause, you know, leading up to the show, everybody and their mama was saying Flex was gonna win.
He's your good friend.
He had already, yeah, me and Flex, he's the best friend I ever had in the sport of bodybuilding, for sure. He taught me everything I know. He's responsible for me hooking up with Chad. He's responsible for me, you know, learning about the drug side of bodybuilding. He taught me everything I needed to know about the drug side. I had no clue. I didn't know nothing about it. And Flex just sat down and told me, if you want to be up here with the big dogs, you gotta do what the big dog do.
This pain fueled Jay Cutler to go all in and completely isolate himself. Bro went monk mode for his entire life just to win a $10 plastic gold trophy. Thank you, Jay Cutler. We love you.
What did you just say?
And if you guys still watching this video, share it with your grandma. I really need those views, okay? To pay the bills, please, man. The bill collector is about to smoke me if I don't pay up. So please support. Let's get back to the video. 2000 arrives. While Kevin LeBron is busy starting a Twilight boy band, Jay Cutler placed second in the English Grand Prix and second at the Joe Witter World Pro Cup. At the 2000 Mr. Olympia, Jay placed 8th, which was good improvements as he placed 14th at the last Mr. Olympia.
All my other meals are fish. I have some turkey, egg whites, and then I basically have oatmeal almost every meal all day, except for a couple meals I have some turkey and rice. Brown rice, a lot of vegetables, a lot of asparagus these last couple weeks. Good diuretic.
This wasn't time to relax, so Jay gave it more work in the gym and called off the 2001 Arnold Classic so he can give himself time to bring a better peak at the Olympia that year. Ronnie at that year was suffering from extreme dehydration and had to drink gallons of water to stay alive, which made his physique look watery, but then was given some medication to flush out all those waters in his system to somewhat bring back his dryness and condition. This strategy didn't make crazy change to his body, but got him winning the Mr. Olympia 01 and Jay Cutler placing second.
Like 2001. Yep, it was 2001, because I remember I was losing the prejudging because I had already did the Arnold Classic. And I'd never ever done that before. My body was so tired and so exhausted. I was going to the hospital the morning of the 2001 Mr. Olympia. I never forget it. The night before, my girl was putting on my tan. I was in the bathroom talking to I had my friends over there, talking to my friends, and all of a sudden, I faint, and I wake up and I'm in the bathtub. I'm like, what the hell happened? I'm asking everybody, what happened? How did I get in this bathtub? They're like, dude, you fainted. I'm like, what? They was like, yeah, you fainted. I'm like, oh man, what's up with that? Well, the next morning I wake up, I can't even get out of bed. And I'm like, oh my God, it's over. And I was so tired and so exhausted, I felt like I was dying. I mean, I don't really know how it feels when a person is dying, but the way I felt, it felt like it was over. I didn't have no energy. I was tired, I was exhausted. I couldn't get out of bed because my leg was so heavy. And I called Chad, I like, Chad, I'm going to the hospital. I was like, forget this Olympia stuff, you know, I ain't trying to die for no show.
Right.
You know, I don't need it that bad. And Chad said, man, no, you don't work too hard for that. You don't put too much into this. And I'm like, man, but he's like, just grab some water and drink until you feel better. Well, I grabbed a gallon of water and I drank the whole thing.
Oh, man, come on, man. You gonna spill over now?
Exactly. That's exactly what happened. I got to that stage and I was watered down. And they like, man, you losing the show check. You said, they got you in second place. I'm like, what? She's like, yeah. He's like, we got to go to the room. We got to pull all this water off of you. So that's what we did. We went to the room. Chad hit me with that powder.
Right.
And I started peeing for about at least 2 hours.
Right.
Every 20 minutes I was going to the bathroom. And I peed so much water off me that I was back to my old self again. So at the night show, the old Ronnie came back.
2002 arrives and Jay had to deal with building his home in Las Vegas and wouldn't be able to manage also prepping for the Mr. Olympia during that time. So Jay took the year off, which would be his biggest regret, as Ronnie Coleman would show up smaller as the judges gave him advice to size down, as that was what the judges loved to see accordingly, which was a cheap spot for Jay Cutler to win the Olympia, but it happened. We cannot go back in time.
Do you regret not doing the 2002 Mr. Olympia?
You know, it's easy for me now, you know, 19, you know, whatever, 19 years later to say, yeah, I regret it. But listen, too many variables. At the time I was moving and it was never the, oh, I lost in 2001 and I feel I should have won, that people might think it is. I moved to Vegas. I built a home after I won the Arnold in 02, and I was in the midst of trying to settle in a new place. And, you know, I had just signed a pretty solid endorsement deal with a company, and I was doing the real estate stuff. So for me, it just made more financial sense to focus on business. And I had just won the Arnold, and I said, you know what, I'm still riding high. So I didn't compete. You know, Ronnie still won that year, but he wasn't as big as he had been in the past, which might have been an advantage to me. But listen, we don't know how I would have showed up, so I do regret it when that maybe the opportunity was there. But at the same time, Giles, I'm thankful for the second place and the battles and the hunger that it made me into a better person. I don't want to get too far ahead. But.
So Jay Cutler had confidence that he will beat 2003 Ronnie Coleman, as 2001 Ronnie Coleman and 2002 Ronnie Coleman were slowly declining. Jay's expectations of Ronnie would be entirely wrong, as Ronnie showed up at his all-time best look ever, and the jaws were dropped backstage and defeat was accepted. Ronnie took the title and Jay was still on his second placing.
Yeah, so 2002 Ronnie, obviously won. It was questionable, right? Mm-hmm. And then Gunter beats him 2 weeks later, whatever, at the GNC
show of strength.
Yes. So either he rolled up and said, you know what, I'm just not getting better, or he comes back and fights.
Right.
That's exactly what happened in 03. So Ronnie got really pissed. And
yeah.
And I expected to win in 03 coming back. I had been on a hot streak. I won the Arnold again. Gunter was flying high. He took the year off after beating him at the show of strength, thinking he was going to come win, and that's probably the biggest highlighted year of the Mr. Olympia of all time.
Right.
Because it was like question mark, okay, we have 3 potential big winners,
yes.
Right? Not to really say Kevin Levrone didn't have a shot either, but at the same time, you had 3
major
powerhouse big dudes, right?
04 and 05 Mr. Olympia, Jay Cutler still played second, and I think Jay played second more than any other bodybuilder. Maybe Kevin was the one, but let me know in the comments who played second the most, who was the uncrowned king. Those fucking memes, I'm the uncrowned, yeah, whatever. But the end of the world arrives, and Ronnie Coleman had officially lost the ability to push the limits to his body and hit a breaking point in which Jay beat and overall ended his road to 9 Mr. Olympia wins. But either way, this doesn't count, as Ronnie lost due to age factors, and no one had beaten Ronnie in his prime. Let's not forget about that.
Kind of like you fall in some form of monotony after a while. Like, okay, I don't want this like 7, 8 times in a row. Or what's 9?
That's how you were looking at it.
Exactly.
Not to be a devil's advocate, but you were kind of standing sideways, and you were looking down, and Jay was to your left, and you didn't seem that confident when they announced it.
Yeah, because I already knew I was going to be second far away.
How did you know that?
Oh, my girlfriend told me.
What?
She was judging.
Oh, she was judging,
mm-hmm.
and she knew that. Oh, she already told you that was going to happen.
Mm-hmm.
You talking about Vicky or who?
Yeah, I'm talking about Vicky.
Okay. Yeah.
She had told me I was going to get second.
How did she know? Because
she was judging.
And she put you at second?
Yeah. No. She would. I don't think she was actually judged. She was at the judge's table.
And she said they're whispering that you're not, as she was looking at the scoring?
She saw the scoring.
Oh, she saw the scoring, and then right before you went up, she said, they don't have you as winning?
They had me, they got you second.
Why would she tell you that?
Like, to prepare me, because she know.
I got it.
She's been with me for a long time.
Oh, I mean, listen, Vicky Yates, Vicky.
Well, Ronnie Coleman told me I won. You remember that, Ron?
Yeah, I remember like it was yesterday.
So we're standing on stage, and they're starting to talk about first and second, whatever. They haven't given out the awards, but Ronnie, you can see him talking to me,
yep.
And he says, "You won, you beat me." So I was like, "Oh shit, what am I gonna do?" Because he was going for record number 9, and I was gonna win my first. So at the moment, I was super excited because I was confident. I felt like I was gonna win, but to have him tell me, it was kind of like, I want to make sure I raise his hand more than enjoy my victory. And if you notice, when I win, Gustavo Bedell runs and jumps on me and hugs me, and then I raise Ronnie's hand. So, and my excitement was like more, hey, I finally won, but damn, it took a long time to get here. A lot of second places to him. So it was a lot of relief, excitement, and then respect to the guy that pushed me to get to that level.
2008, Jay Cutler let his guard down as he got complacent when he accomplished his first Olympia title and eventually got smoked by another black guy, Dexter Jackson. This was an embarrassment to Jay Cutler, as it seemed that Jay Cutler was the average beat-down one-trick pony that was bought from Temu or the black market.
Do you think because he was so good, that's kind of why you had kind of like that stutter, like right after that following year in 07, you weren't as good?
No, I actually had an infection, so that's what hindered me. I mean, I felt like, I knew in 07, I tried to come in as big in 07, which I think was another mistake because Ronnie wasn't there anymore. I wasn't battling guys like that. So between that mistiming, but I did have a shoulder infection that did affect me a lot. It wasn't the best look for me, and obviously that was the hardest Olympia I've ever faced in my life, posing wise, and the aftermath of Victor Martinez, almost winning that contest from me. But looking still, I still, and people may call me crazy, I still felt that I mean, Victor's never been 100%. And I think, but I did lose. I had a hard time figuring out who I was at that Olympia without the Coleman battles. Like, they kind of died. That was a new era, right?
Right.
So I didn't really have any competition that I because it seemed like it was flip-flopping every year after that. Who was going to be second or third? Gustavo came up, and then it was Gunther was still there, and I mean there was just always someone new that was going to be the threat. Dexter Jackson, and then of course Phil. 08, look how I came in. I was questioning, okay, how do I need to come in?
Right.
I was kind of at that crossroad, like, okay, I don't need to be big anymore, but I need to be ripped. You know what I'm saying? So it was tough. It was tough. I mean, trying to figure out your identity, right? And then I lost to Dexter, which did you
think you were going to lose going into it?
No.
In 08?
I actually took my clothes off backstage, and people around me were like, "Damn, you look so good," And I don't know what happened between the time I took my clothes off in the posing room, like in the changing room, to when I got on stage. I don't know if it was nerves or whatever. I attribute it. I was eating some rice leading up to that show, and it was like from a restaurant, and I have a feeling it was loaded with salt, and of course we know how body reacts, and you especially knowing working with me, I just think it was just temporary fullness. I was flat, and then I think I was more flat, and I got pumped up, temporary fullness, and then once I got on stage I was just deflated and watery and just looked like shit.
Right.
Here I am, like they were talking about me not even placing 08. Like if you watch the build up to the contest, they mentioned that Jay won't be in the top 2 or 3, or his body's just tired. So when I came back in 09, I just kind of shut up all that talk and came back in arguably one of my best looks since 2001.
Yeah. And then what about in 2010?
Bill Heath was coming up. I mean, I won another one, but I knew after 09 and coming back, and arguably, like I said, it was history making, the quad stomp, that famous pose I did. It was really hard for me to justify how am I going to be better than this? My biggest fear, even talking with, the guy that was training me and my group around me, how was I going to top 2009? And the truth was, is you weren't going to, right? It was really hard to repeat that. So for me, I came back, I won it. It wasn't in the fashion that I wanted to, but that was my last victory. Came back in 11, I tore my bicep 3 weeks out. Phil Heath won. He was second to me in 2010, and he started his reign of 7 times. I came back in 13, and I was a shadow of myself, after getting bicep surgery in 2012, and finished 6th.
What happened to your bicep? How did that happen?
I was doing a photo shoot, and basically what I did a million times, I had dumbbells on my knees, and I was kicking them up to do a shoulder press, and when I kicked them up, the bicep detached on the upper, and it didn't hurt.
Really?
I just thought, it was like an electric shock. And I just kept doing the photo shoot, and I kept training leading up, and it slowly started to get black and blue, and it was actually detached. And the crazy thing is I competed with a torn bicep. I competed there, and I went to India the next week. I got second, but it was a mess. The bicep was all black and blue, and you could see the lump in there.
Bye, have a great time.